All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're looking at a story that is just wild. It's straight out of a movie. We're talking about a celebrated public hero, a guy everyone looked up to as a protector, who takes a nosedive from grace in the most unbelievable way. This is the story of a knight who became the very monster he claimed to be fighting. And boom, right here, this slide just lays out the whole shocking picture. On one side, you have the public image of this guy, Nguyen Thanh Hai, a street knight, a protector, a guy who got actual awards for his bravery. And then, look at the other side, the grim reality. The hero is now facing charges for human trafficking, extortion, and fraud. I mean, how in the world does this happen? How does a symbol of justice completely flip and become a symbol of corruption?
To really get how this happened, we've got to rewind a bit. We have to understand the whole phenomenon he was a part of. So let's ask the basic question. Who exactly were these citizen crime fighters, these so-called street knights? So, the term Hiệp đường, which translates to street knight, is basically for regular people, ordinary citizens who voluntarily put their own safety on the line to chase down bad guys, thieves, robbers, you name it. You know, they popped up because there was a real need to fight street crime, and they became these sort of extended arms for the police, helping to keep things in order.
And our guy, Nguyen Thanh Hai, he was the absolute poster child for this whole movement. He wasn't just some random vigilante. No, he was officially recognized, celebrated, and literally showered with awards by the government for his incredible courage. For all intents and purposes, this man was a national hero. But this brings up a huge question, right? What happens when you have that kind of power, that kind of public praise, but it's all operating without any rules, without any real oversight? Well, this is where we start to see the dark side of all that fame. And this gets right to the heart of the problem. These street knights were working in a total legal vacuum. I mean, think about it. It was all volunteer-based, totally spontaneous. There was no specific law for what they could or couldn't do. No formal training. And this is the big one. They weren't public officials. That means they had zero legal authority to investigate anything or to use force. It was a legal gray area, a big one. And in that gray area, something dangerous started to grow. You could call it a power fantasy. All that praise from the public going viral on social media, it started to get to some of these guys' heads. They began to see themselves not as helpers, but as their own independent police force, and they started acting way, way outside the law. This quote here really just nails it. When material elements and fame are introduced, the line between righteousness and self-interest becomes incredibly fragile. The moment fame and the chance to make money entered the picture, that original noble goal, it started to get real blurry real fast. So that brings us right back to Nguyen Thanh Hai himself. Let's trace his long descent into crime and try to pinpoint that one critical moment where everything changed. Okay, so this timeline just lays it all out perfectly. In the past, he was a hero, celebrated by everyone. Then came the pivotal moment, the turning point. The authorities wanted all the street nightclubs to register, to work under the local police. And what did Hai do? He refused. He said no. And from there, the fall was fast. By 2023, he's running these shady rescue operations in Cambodia. And that leads directly to today, where he's been arrested for being the boss of a massive criminal ring. And let's be super clear about this. Refusing to work with the police, that was a choice, a deliberate one. He wasn't just bending the rules anymore. He was actively stepping outside the entire legal system, completely away from any kind of government supervision. This was the moment he officially went rogue. So, if he was operating completely outside the law, what was he really doing? Well, this is where the story takes its darkest turn. It's time to pull back the curtain and unmask the criminal enterprise that was hiding behind this fake shield of chivalry. Okay, get ready for this, because the scam was just horrifyingly cynical. First, his network would lure people from Vietnam over to Cambodia with these fake promises of great jobs. Then, they would literally sell them to scam companies, basically trafficking them into forced labor. Step 3, Hai's group swoops in and contacts the terrified families back home, offering to rescue their loved ones. And finally, the extortion. They jack up the rescue costs and force these desperate families to pay massive amounts of money to get their family members back. They made victims out of them twice.
And to pull this off, those rescue videos you might have seen floating around online, they were completely fake, just elaborate, staged performances. They were designed to play with the emotions of panicked families, to make them believe that Hai was their only hope and to pressure them into paying whatever he asked.
And the scale of this whole thing was just mind-boggling. In total, Hai's criminal group extorted almost 17 billion Vietnamese dong from these families, a staggering amount of money.
And out of that enormous sum, what was the hero's personal cut? Nguyen Thanh Hai personally pocketed more than 2.2 billion dong, all of it built on the pain and suffering of these families. The motive here wasn't justice, it was just pure, simple greed.
And at the end of the day, the real rescue didn't come from some rogue knight. It came from official police work. Thanks to cooperation between the Vietnamese and Cambodian police, 34 victims were brought home safely. It just goes to show who has the real power and the right to act. You know, the damage from this case goes way beyond just one man's crimes. It makes you ask some really tough questions about who you can trust, and it forces us all to think about how we rebuild faith in the system. Because really, the biggest damage here wasn't the money. It was the complete erosion of social trust. When a guy everyone thought was a hero turns out to be a master criminal, it makes people suspicious of every grassroots movement, even the ones that are genuinely trying to do good. It eats away at the very idea of community security. So what's the solution here? Well, a legal expert laid out some pretty clear recommendations. First, you've got to create a clear legal framework for these kinds of clubs. Second, give them mandatory training on the law. Third, you have to strictly prosecute anyone who crosses the line, no matter what their intentions might seem to be. And finally, a clear message to the public. Always, always use official channels. Don't turn to shady, private rescue services. Which really brings us to the core lesson of this entire tragic story. It's summed up perfectly in this quote. Chivalry is only truly valuable when it is placed within the framework of the law. It's so simple, right? Good intentions just aren't enough. Without accountability, without the rule of law, even the best ideas can be twisted into something terrible. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on. How can we, as a society, encourage people to get involved and help keep their communities safe, while also building the right guardrails to make sure that good intentions can never, ever be twisted into a tool for evil like this again?
By 2023, Hai's operation had evolved from catching snatch thieves to something far more sinister: international human trafficking and extortion. Hai and his associates targeted the most desperate people, families whose children had been tricked into working in scam compounds in Cambodia. Presenting himself as a savior with deep connections, Hai offered to rescue these victims. It was a theater of cruelty. Hai's group would inflate rescue costs, force families to transfer massive sums of money through intermediate accounts, and organize illegal border crossings. In many cases, they colluded with the very criminals in Cambodia to create a supply chain of buying and selling people. Behind the heroic rescue videos posted on social media were staged scripts designed to prey on the terror of victims' families. The investigation revealed the group extorted nearly 17 billion VND, approximately 670,000 US dollars, with Hai personally pocketing over 2.2 billion VND. The White Knight had become a predator, using a shield of righteousness to hide his crimes. But the Ho Chi Minh City police were watching. In a massive coordinated crackdown, the police shattered the illusion. They didn't just arrest Hai, they dismantled his entire network. Nguyen Thanh Hai, along with TikToker Huyen Cao Corn and 40 other accomplices, were taken into custody. The charges were laundry list of felonies: human trafficking, organizing illegal immigration, extortion, and fraud. The arrest of Nguyen Thanh Hai sent shockwaves through Vietnam. It wasn't just a criminal case, it was a blow to societal trust. The man who once chased robbers was now sitting in the same handcuffs he used to carry. This case serves as a grim warning about the dangers of unchecked vigilantism. When ordinary citizens are given power without legal boundaries, and when justice becomes a tool for personal branding and profit, the hero quickly becomes the monster they once fought against.